In this video, I'm going to show you all the settings that I use in wsjt-x.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
Hi, my name's John. Amateur Radio call sign M7 CPT. Welcome to Amateur Radio on the Air. In order for wsjt-x to work properly, your computer's time needs to be synchronized correctly. A couple of programs to do this. This one is JT Sync and can actually work without the internet, judging the time from the people you can actually hear. For those of you that are using it in your shack and have internet access, another program may be slightly more useful for you. Once set up, Network Time will check the internet to synchronize your time every 15 minutes, keeping your computer's time in complete synchronization with the rest of the world. Here's a screenshot of my settings. Feel free to pause the video and set it up on your system. Also make any changes that you feel necessary for you. Depending on what radio you're using, you may need a program similar to this one. This is FL-Rig that I use to set up my G90. Okay, once you've got all that set up and in place, it's time to open up wsjt-x and click on the File menu and go down to Settings. The first screen you'll be presented with is the General tab. You'll need to enter your station details here, i.e. your call sign and your grid square. I also recommend ticking the auto grid. This will change the grid square when it's required. Further details on this page become optional. I like to have a blank line between decoding periods. I also like to display the distance in miles. It makes more sense to me. The alternative is kilometers. I also like to put the TX messages to the RX frequency window to show the DXCC, the grid and the worked before status, although this doesn't always work. Rather than having it showing me the principal prefix, I do actually prefer the country to be displayed. I personally turn the monitor off at startup so I can select which band I want to monitor first. As soon as I select a band, the monitor goes active. Monitor returns to the last used frequency. Double click on a call sets the transmission status. So all you have to do is double click on any call and you will automatically be transmitting and calling them. When I'm calling CQ, I like to just grab the first person that responds and take that QSO. As for all the other options, I'll leave them all disabled. The transmission waiting I also place on disabled, although some of you, if you're concerned that your radio may get too hot if it's transmitting for more than a certain amount of time, which does happen, you may want to set a time limit in this window. The next tab is the radio tab. Now, if you're like me, you're using a program to identify your radio, you need to select this program from the drop-down list. If you have cat control, you select it here, and the mode, whichever is appropriate for your radio, you'd have to check the manual on that one. Now, the actual split operation, some people use it, some people don't. I personally do not. I've not found a reason to actually use it, so I don't see any point. The next tab is the audio tab. I personally have a USB sound card specifically for the radio. It's not used for anything else. If your radio does not have a built-in sound card, I do recommend you get one of these. They are only cheap to buy and fairly easy to set up and use. The TX macros I just leave on the default setting. On the reporting tab, there's an option for log automatically. It's worth having this ticked, even though it does only get used for competitions. Also, placing the dB readings in comments. This is useful for the QSL cards. EQSL cards have the option where you can actually put your comments on the QSL card, and this will give the signal report in both directions on that. Clear the DX and call after logging. This will reduce the chances of you making a mistake and calling the person back again. Be sure to enable the PSK reporter spotting, and this is a very useful thing for another video that I will be producing later. Also, it allows other people to know that you have heard them. The frequencies tab should not be touched. The only people who may need to change anything on this are full license holders who may wish to add the 60 meters to it. On the colours tab, the one I do like to change to make it stand out a little bit more is my call in message. If somebody calls me, I like it to stand out, so I choose a vibrant red and the white to actually display quite clearly that it's there. I also have ticks in anything to do with the new continent and the new DXCC. If someone uses Logbook of the Worlds, that's also nice to know. And the only other one I have ticked is my transmitted messages. I have highlighted in yellow. Everything else in the colours tab I remove the ticks from, and everything else on this tab I leave on the default settings. On the advanced tab, you only really need to worry about a couple of things. The first one is the receiver bandwidth should be 3500 Hz. Any less than this, you will miss stations. Any more than this, your station won't hear it anyway. Near the bottom of this page, there's a section entitled Special Operating Activity. If you see somebody calling CQWW, what you should do is go to this tab, place a tick in that box and select www.digi contest. That will change all the QSO to the correct readings. As for all the other options in this section, if you are part of a contest or an activity that does require this to be adjusted, they will tell you what settings need to be set to what. And now for the waterfall section, the bins or pixel, you need to adjust that until you can see at least 3000 for the start of it. Most signals will be within this 3000 range. Also, the start is 200 Hz. Normally anything below the 200 Hz is just testing and tuning in. The N average, that is for the speed of the waterfall. If it's too fast for you, you can increase this number to slow it down. Ensure you can tick flatten, or the waterfall's a little bit hard to read properly. Over on the right hand side, you'll see spec. That's short for the spectrum display, and how much of that display takes over the main display. So you can adjust that, and it will adjust the percentage of waterfall to spectrum. Also, you'll see 4 sliders. Use the top 2 to adjust the actual waterfall, and the bottom 2 to adjust the spectrum display. Once you have the waterfall set the way you can be comfortable with it and read it easily, this waterfall becomes your friend. It will tell you whereabouts on the band you can actually transmit and where not to transmit. And finally, back to the main window. There are some things of note in here. First of all, the volume on the left hand side, that's the green indicator. Your computer will identify anything between 20 and 60 dB. Anywhere in that range is good. On the right hand side, your power level, you want to set this fairly high, but do not set it at 100%. Depending on your radio, this could actually cause splatter or signal spillage. Once you've actually found a clear spot on the spectrum and set to transmit at that point, you want to put a tick in hold TX frequency. You don't want to go drifting around the frequency. Also, put a tick in call first. That way, when you call in CQ, the first person that returns to you will be responded to. And then, once you've completed that QSO, you can go on to the next one. For FT8 and FT4, I would also recommend putting a tick in auto sequence. That way, once you receive the response, it will move to the next part of the QSO and progress all the way down to the end. This feature is not available in some modes that this program is designed for. Once you've done all this, simply select Enable TX and your radio will start transmitting your CQ call. And good luck. As always, I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it informative. Before I go, I'm going to leave you with a little teaser. in my next video, I'm going to show you what program I use to enhance the FT8 and FT4 experience. Also, help me get the certificates behind me, not the top two, the other four, and all the other certificates you can see on my QRZ page. Be sure to like this video. Don't forget to check out my other videos. There is another one about how to get the digital mode certificates from many websites around the world. Also, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell icon. The next video I do in the Digimod series is not going to be published on the social media websites, so don't miss out. If you're not subscribed, you won't be told about it. And all that leaves me to say is, catch you on the air.